Let's talk just a little bit about Islam in the modern world, and then we'll be done. Following the fall of the Ottoman Empire in World War I, many Islamic countries came under the control of European colonial powers. There were several reactions. The ideal of the secular national state contradicted the Islamic understanding of the state. That battle is really still being fought in so many ways. It's got to be fought in Egypt right now, isn't it? Are they a secular national state? Are they going to be a democracy in any way, shape, or form? When your world doesn't think in those kind of ways. I mean, think about Iraq, and we set up some sort of secular national state there. Is it going to work? We don't know. We don't know if that will work there. But I found myself wondering that when we're setting up a constitution. I said, what's it based on? And who's going to be happy with that 40 years from now, 20 years from now? Maybe they all will, but it's not very easy sometimes to just impose one style of governance into another structure. And so that battle is being fought on many different levels, and it's showing up today in the newspaper and all across the world. Western individualism was seen as a threat to traditional Islamic morals and their sense of community, the Ummah. Certainly that shows up. Teenagers come to this country, and are they supposed to be honoring their parents and their grandparents, or are they supposed to be like Western kids that sometimes do and sometimes don't? You know? Huge issues going on with the Western individualism. The introduction of capitalism led to conflict with the Quran's prohibition against charging paying interest. Hard to buy a house, hard to have a mortgage when you come out of Islam. Scientific technological thinking revived a fundamental question: what is the relationship between divine revelation and human reason? You know, the golden age was back in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th centuries, and you look at Baghdad, probably the most remarkable city in the world. Huge library, huge learning, scholarly kind of influence. All the stuff from ancient Greek got translated into Arabic. We probably wouldn't have some of the stuff from ancient Greek today if it hadn't got translated into Arabic and preserved there. So they did remarkable things there, but for whatever reason along the way, modernism has become suspect or the problem, something to fight against at almost every turn. And so how the Muslim world gets into the modern world is a huge issue too, a huge fight that's going on. There was a widespread sense among Muslims that the influence of modernism should not be accepted fatalistically. Muslims must chart their own course. They rely on Surah 13:11. Verily, never will Allah change the condition of a people until they change it for themselves. You know, you read something like that, literally, and you can take that in a lot of different ways, can't you? And that can have to do with scientific achievement. It can have to do with suicide bombers and maybe everybody in between. As of late, a number of groups have attempted the re-Islamization of the culture and policies of Islamic countries. A widespread symbol of these efforts has been the veiling women's faces. Again, just to say it's more cultural than religious in motivation, but some are requiring it because of the way that they read the Quran. All right, questions, thoughts? Sorry, my voice kind of gave out along the way.
No, I think my feeling is a concern that I'm gaining, at least, and I don't know if it's shared by any small number even, is that the Jews, or at least the radical Islamic group, is not content to be just Muslim. They are going to clean out the infidels and everybody's butt down.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big question.
I think you could argue that it's not about religion at all. For the radical Muslims, it's become about something else entirely. I'm going to give you some things to read that I think will at least get you thinking along those lines, but I think it's certainly not much about religion, and it's certainly not religion that most of Islam would approve of or agree with at all.
There was one other thing I read in the past months, is in the actually USA Today, is that somewhere in the Muslim world they defined that the entry to the United States would be done in Tennessee. So Muslims were to move in, if this is part of their grand plan to come in and gradually move once you get the beachhead, you move in it from there. And we are currently building 3 large mosques down there in Memphis or Nashville, I can't remember which, and a couple other locations down there.
Okay, so you're saying that there's a grand plan to move into the United States, and that may or may not be true, but that certainly, you can see where something like that would arise. I mean, there's a lot of more Muslims in Detroit because we brought them here to be auto workers than probably any place. But yeah, we certainly will talk about some of those things too. Other kind of last things? We're covering a lot of ground, yep.
I just didn't phrase my question earlier to you correctly.
Okay.
My question about the devil was, we were taught, you were reading about angels.
Mm-hmm.
Did their devil, was he an angel that broke away? the
Broke away?
Satanists?
I don't
The
think
devil?
so. But I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I knew they had a devil, but I just didn't phrase the question correctly.
I should ask that question, the origin. I should do a little bit more reading. If you wanted to, you would be welcome to, but where the origins of the devil are is always an interesting question in various religions. I don't know though. Yep.
What happened in 1959?
Don't know. Not sure. What happened in 1959 that changed that relationship? I don't know. It's not like they're bosom buddies by any means, but there must have been something that happened. They fought openly in the Iran-Iraq war, and that was largely Sunnis and Shiites. Certainly a lot of the struggling over who was going to get to control parliament in Iraq had to do with were the Shiites going to give any room to the Sunnis in that power struggle. There's countries you can go to where this isn't really an issue, the Sunni-Shia thing. You go to parts of Turkey today, and they kind of shrug and say not a big deal. So it kind of depends on where you go and what their tradition has been along the way. Thank you for coming. We'll keep going next week. Do your homework as much as you can, and we'll talk more.